107. Give me a look, give me a look, give me a look, give me a look. 109. Holy moly. Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to my review of the ARRMA Typhon 6S. Now this is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive brushless buggy equipped with a 2050 kV brushless motor, a whopping 180 amp waterproof ESC and a very respectable 15 kilogram steering servo up the front. The car also has 16mm shocks which have aluminium threaded bodies. There are front and rear sway bars pre-installed on the car and everything rides on a 3mm chassis. Alright, so let's get stuck into this review. I'm going to very quickly recap all the things that you get in the box when you buy the car, just to give you an idea of value, and also for those of you who perhaps didn't see the unboxing video that I did. If you do want to check out any of the videos that I've done on this car previously, please be sure to check out the video description. I will have links in there, as well as a link to the Tower Hobbies website, which is where I bought the car from, and a link to the ARRMA website, should you need to go and check out any further specifications on the car. So very quickly, aside from the car and the remote that you get in the box, of course, you also get this little bag of plastic bits and pieces. What this is actually designed to go over the top of your batteries, and then you strap them in with the Velcro straps on the battery tray. I did use them a couple of times. I didn't really see a huge necessity for them, but of course it is nice that ARRMA included those in the box for us. You also get a fairly decent toolkit. There's a great big cross wrench in here, which is ideal to take out your wheels because they have 17mm hexes, a few Allen keys, and even a smaller cross wrench for your smaller screws found on the car. Of course, not everybody is fully equipped to work on their RC, especially if you're fairly new to the hobby. So it's very nice to see a manufacturer include all the necessary tools to work on your car. You also have an additional pinion. Now, the car comes equipped out of the box with a 14-tooth pinion installed in the car, and they give you an optional 16-tooth pinion. Now, I will say with the 14-tooth, the car does feel a bit under-geared. If you're going to be running constantly on 6S, then I suppose that would be okay. But if you want to tone it down to 4S and still get plenty of speed, I suggest you opt for the 16-tooth pinion, and you can even run it on 6S off-road, which I have in the past, and there's really not too many problems with heat issues unless you're pushing the car dramatically. But 16-tooth I think is a happy medium, especially if you're going to stick to around about 4S. I think you'll find that you'll get very good speed out of the car and exceptional performance as well. Finally, you get some warning labels. There are some sheets here, some information about lipo care, where you should run the car, what you should be wary of, all of these things. Important to read through all of that if you're new to the hobby, and even if you are a seasoned hobbyist as well. There may also be information in here that perhaps you didn't know that may be specific to the car. The manual is actually very good. It does look a little bit plain, but they do have a lot of useful information in here. There's blown up pictures, there's model numbers. It takes you step by step in kind of reassembling the car should you need to do any maintenance or any repairs on it. Very good to hang on to this guy. And finally, there is a bit of a speed chart. Now you have miles an hour on one side and kilometers on the other. Obviously, depending on where you are in the world, you pick the one that's relevant to you. And it gives you an indication of speed based on the batteries that you're using, so either 4S or 6S, and also the pinion that you're using. Now, the box that the car comes in does have 60+ mile an hour printed on it. However, the car does not do 60 miles plus an hour straight out of the box. It doesn't even do 60 miles an hour with the optional 16-tooth pinion gear. You do in fact need to go out and purchase an additional pinion. I think they recommend you to use 18-tooth, so you need at least one of those to be able to get to that top speed. Now, I did my testing with a 19-tooth pinion gear because it's what I had available to me, and the car definitely gets well over 60 miles an hour. In fact, I think I hit about 67 miles an hour, which is the reason why you see these street tires on here at the moment, because I just recently finished testing it. So very happy with the speed of the car. The speed chart I think is fairly accurate. You should be able to get those speeds as long as you're running some decent batteries in here. There's no reason for that to be completely off. I think it's actually pretty good. The only gripe I have about this entire speed claim and everything else is that you're actually required to go out and buy an additional part. Now, it's a small expense. I mean, a pinion gear could be, I don't know, probably around about the $10 mark. It's not really an expensive item to purchase. However, not having that included in the box and saying that the car actually does that speed, I feel a little bit weird about it. I don't think that's entirely accurate. I think that if you're going to put a claimed speed on the box, the car should do that when you take it out of the box and not expect you to go out and buy additional components. And I guess it's, it's not so much the price of it or how small of an item it is, it's more the principle of the matter that I kind of have a little bit of a gripe on. I don't know, I just feel uncomfortable about any company making such claims. And to be quite honest, I mean, the entire speed claim, speed war that goes on out there, I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, I do RC Speed Week, as you guys may know, and I do test the cars, but it's not necessarily to chase a specific speed, it's just to find out what they do, simple as that. Take from that what you will. I mean, I guess it's a slightly complicated subject because some people will go, it's just a $10 Pinion, who cares? As long as it does it, everybody's happy. But I guess if you're on my side a little bit, you might think, yeah, you're kind of right. If they're going to put something on the box, that's what it should do. So I don't know. To me, there's really two options. Either A, downtone the speed claim that's on the box so that when you do take the car out and put the optional pinion gear in here, then the car is going to do that speed, or provide the additional 18 tooth pinion gear in the box as well, so that we can reach those speeds. So I'm going to leave that there for you guys to discuss amongst yourselves and in the comments. I'm going to move on to the remote very quickly. The remote I have reviewed in the past before. I've actually been very happy with these remotes. They have a collapsible antenna which folds away nice and neat and doesn't get caught up anywhere. You have a kind of a semi-see-through flip box back here, or flip lid, and when you do turn the remote on, you'll actually see the lights come on there, so you'll be able to see through, and they actually shine pretty bright even during the day. When you open this guy up, you have reverse switches in there. You've got your two LED lights. There's a binding button in the middle. Now, I believe the LED lights will also give you a low voltage warning for your batteries, so that way you know exactly when you need to swap them over. And of course, you have steering trim, throttle trim, and steering dual rate. The remote feels very comfortable in the hand. It has a nice drop-down wheel, and of course, it has this really dense, almost gel-like foam that's surrounding the wheel, which is very comfortable to hold. The wheel itself has actually got quite a fair bit of throw. So that, to me, I like having a bit of throw on the wheel because it gives you a little bit more precise steering. You don't have, you can be a little bit more gentle with it and really get the steering that you want. It runs on 4 AA's, and it does have a removable battery tray in there, so you can unplug that and actually plug in a rechargeable battery if you want to do that. Right, moving on to the car itself. And I guess we'll start with the tires, because of course you can see that these are the street tires that I did my speed run in. Now, the tires that the car actually comes with are these ones here. These are the wheels. The wheels are actually quite nice. I don't mind the wheels at all. The tires themselves, I mean, look, they're not terrible. They're not the worst ready to run tire that I've come across, but they really didn't suit the terrain that I was driving in. Short grass, a bit of loose gravel. They kind of struggle a bit. I find that the tread pattern really isn't wide enough, the lugs aren't deep enough, and the tires kind of struggle to really get down past the soft surface, get down to the hard packed surface on the bottom to give you any sort of grip. So pretty early on I actually swapped these out, and what I did is I went out and bought some stock rims, so you can see that these are the exact same rims, and I bought my trusty Proline Badlands and stuck them on there. And of course, a world of difference in grip, especially in the terrain that I was running on. So very happy with these tires. Definitely worth doing if you want to do something like this. And the only reason why I went with the stock rims is purely because I didn't like any of the rims that the Proline was offering. And yeah, I just decided to go with the stock ones, and they worked out just fine. So tires on the car weren't exactly my favorite. Now, I am going to point out another negative very quickly as well, and that is in regards to the battery tray. Now, this is your battery tray over here. It has 2 Velcro straps. A couple of things that I found as you're bashing around and the car's taking its falls and you're jumping it and so forth. I've noticed that my batteries like to slide out of the battery tray. Now both, this happens primarily on soft packs. Hard packs, not so much, I guess. So if you're using a 2S hard packs, you'll be okay. But if you want to fit 2 3S packs in here, what I generally do is go for the soft packs because they tend to be a bit smaller. The hard case 3S packs always tend to be a bit too thick, and you won't be able to fit them side by side. You've got to kind of put one on top of the other, and that causes them to slide in between each other. Not really ideal. So I think what I've found, and I had probably a bigger problem with the Creighton that you see behind me as well, where the front wall of the battery tray, so the wall that kind of faces the front of the car, actually broke at the base. And with this one, what tends to happen is the walls are actually very soft on the tray, and the batteries can actually push through them. So I'm not a big fan of the I suppose the design of this tray. They also only gave us 2 battery straps. I feel that they really should have given us 3 because a lot of RCs actually do have 3. And that's just my theory on it. Plus these are actually quite thin, and I don't think they're probably the best, but it's just something to keep in mind. Like I said, hard case packs, if you're running 4S, and you got 2 2S packs side by side, I didn't really have too much of an issue with it. It's more the soft case packs when you're trying to run 6S. Yeah, that's when I ran into a little bit of trouble. So I don't know if maybe they need to change the plastic composition on the tray, make it a slightly harder plastic, maybe raise the walls up a little bit, give us something that we can actually, you know, really secure these batteries in place. So I'm not quite sure what they can do here, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. To be totally honest with you, everything from here on end is going to be fairly positive, with the exception of a breakage that I had, which I think is a little bit of a fluke, but at the same time it may not be, because I'm pretty sure I've read in one of the forums that somebody else did actually have this same breakage as me, and that is one of the ball ends on the lower A-arm. The car landed quite heavily on I can't remember which side it was, to be honest. I think it was the left-hand front wheel, and it snapped the ball end clean off. The rest of the ball of the thread is actually inside the A-arm. I did actually try to drill it out, but I found that the metal is very, very hard, and I couldn't actually drill it. Plus, it's a fairly delicate job, and in the end, I just decided to buy myself a pair of A-arms and a pair of these ball ends. And now I've got a spare A-arm and a spare ball end, so hey, you know, wins for me all around, I guess. I have spares. Not a huge big deal, not a very expensive repair, but since then the car has taken plenty of hits. I've driven it plenty of times, and it has survived every bit of abuse that I've put through it. So I'm actually very impressed with the durability of the car. I think it gets full marks for durability, in my opinion. I've been extremely impressed with it. One of the other things that I will touch on before we carry on to anything else is, of course, the ESCs on these vehicles. The ESCs have been a little bit temperamental. I know that there are some people out there that have had them fail. Regardless of whether you have the Typhon or the Creighton, you will find that sometimes they will fail on you. Now, the good news with that is, of course, that ARRMA have been honouring their warranty, and they are replacing these ESCs for their customers, which is fantastic. And the other bit of good news is that the new ESCs that are coming, because I did have my Creighton ESC go out on me, the new ones that are coming are actually slightly different. They're cosmetically different. Basically, the emblem on top of the fan of the ESC is it's got a slightly different mold to it, and the underneath the ESC, on the stock one, there's actually just a sticker that says Made in China, whilst the new one has Made in China embossed on the actual casing. So there are some subtle differences, and so far in the Creighton, the ESC has been holding up fine. Also, I have not heard of anybody having the replacement ESCs go out on them. So it seems to me that it's kind of a batch issue, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, given some time, that future shipments of these cars will actually have the newer version of the ESCs on there, which seem to be at this stage a lot more reliable. Thankfully, I did not have the ESC on this one go out on me. I did my speed runs. I've done plenty of bash sessions with it. It's been working just fine. It seems to be, you know, providing plenty of power to the car. I don't have a problem with this ESC at this stage. Everything else on the car has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed these steering servos that ARRMA have supplied with their cars. These are actually very quiet steering servos and very quick and actually quite torquey as well. They have the same one for the Buggy as they do for the Creighton, and I have no complaints about the steering servo. I have heard of a couple of people that have had these go out on them, which is a bit weird, but yeah, so far so good. I mean, I've got two of their cars with the same steering servo inside and no problems to report. I'm actually very, very pleased with them. I think these are probably, I would have to say that these are probably among the best ready to run steering servos that I've come across in a variety of different brands of styles of cars that I've tested over time. So very happy. The brushless motor, 2050 kV, definitely a lot of power in this guy, no doubt about that. I think you'll be most pleased with this motor. I really see no reason to change out this power system. There's more than enough power here to enjoy this car, and yeah, hit over 60 plus miles an hour. No complaints about that. A couple of, I suppose, not so much durability but reliability pros that I'm going to put towards this car as well. Haven't had any issues with any of the ball bearings, haven't had any issues with any of the diffs. I haven't opened any of my diffs up as of yet. You are running dog bones in the rear and CVDs in the front for your steering. Now, the outdrive cups on all of these dog bones are showing very, very minor signs of wear. In some cases, no signs of wear at all to report. What that means is that the slot where the dog bone goes into is not being worn out, and of course this can be a problem in some RCs which requires a higher level of maintenance, and also can be a little bit frustrating because to get to these outdrive cups you do have to sometimes pull apart the diff and replace them. So very good news, of course, to have quite a number of battery packs go through this car, and yeah, no signs of wear in any of these components. The shocks have also been fantastic. I mean, the car is lowered at the moment because, as I said, I recently done the speed run for it. But when I do go out bashing, I kind of raise the car up a little bit, and that's really due to the droop screws that I've got on all the A-arms. You know, you screw them down, the car kind of sinks down a little bit, you pull them up and the car raises up a little bit, of course. As I said, the shocks have been fantastic, no leakages to report, either on top or on the bottom caps. No bent shock shafts, no damage to the shocks whatsoever. Suspension on this Buggy out of the box has been brilliant. I mean, I said this in the unboxing and I was actually quite surprised with it, and I have to say it again here. The suspension setup on this car is just phenomenal. I absolutely love it. It may not suit your particular driving style. There may be people out there that say, oh, it might be too soft, or I don't, you know, it doesn't suit what I want to do with it. But for general purpose, for general running, and just, it's just been awesome. Absolutely fantastic. I haven't had to touch these shocks. I wish that I had more RCs come out of the box set up this way, because I can tell you that I do go through quite a fair bit of shock oil with a lot of the RCs that I have, until I find the one that I you know, that I like, the type of oil that I like. But in this particular car, I don't think I'm going to be touching these shocks anytime soon, and unless something really bad happens to them. But yeah, no complaints about the suspension on this guy at all. Of course, you do have adjustable camber front and rear, and of course you have adjustable toe in the front. You do have a little bit of an aluminium knuckle kind of arm, I guess you'd call it, on the front of the car. You also have the aluminium anchorment just in the middle of the car here in your steering. You have an aluminium brace up the top here, which has been fantastic. The chassis has not shown any signs of severe damage. It's actually been very, very good. The car is braced towards the center of the chassis. As you can see, there's two plastic braces here which do the job very well. I really have no complaints. The shock towers haven't bent on me either, which has been fantastic. The body has held up extremely well as well. I absolutely love the look of this Buggy. I think that this is probably the best looking Buggy on the market today. without a doubt. I mean, I can't see anything out there in 1/8 scale that looks as good as this. I of course have the red one, but I have seen that there are some silver ones out there as well. And yeah, I mean, I think I've covered pretty much everything. I think I've mentioned everything that I need to mention here to give you guys an idea of how this car has performed, how its durability has been, what it comes equipped with. Of course, you don't have batteries or chargers. When you buy this buggy, you do need to get those yourself, so it's not 100% ready to run, but you can take it out of the box, plug a battery in, and away you go. Final verdict on this car, if you haven't worked it out by now, I absolutely love this thing to death. This is my favorite 1/8 scale buggy so far. I think it's probably among the best RCs that I purchased in 2014, which is when I picked it up and when the car was actually released. I'm extremely happy with it. I've had a very good experience with this car. I think it's well worth the $430 that it is currently being advertised at Tower Hobbies, and of course you can get it a little bit cheaper than that if you know, you have discount codes and all this sort of thing. Prices may vary depending on where you are in the world. The only thing, and the last thing that I'm going to discuss very briefly as well, is of course parts support, which is something that I know some people have a little bit of trouble with depending on the brand now, and of course depending on where you are in the world. Now, I don't have too much of an issue with part support with ARRMA because well, Tower Hobbies pretty much stock all the parts, and I have seen some bits and pieces floating around on eBay as well. Now, ARRMA are releasing more cars as time goes on, and their fleet is obviously increasing, so there's a very good chance that sometime down the line, hopefully, third-party companies like, for example, RPM, may actually jump on board and start to produce parts for these type of cars. And of course, you can then start upgrading them and doing all these sorts of things. You never know what the future holds. So I'm extremely happy with it. I love the brand. I love the car. I love the price point. I think it's an exceptional price point, and you get a lot of value when you take into account the rest of the 1/8 scale buggies that are available out there on the market. I don't think there is another 1/8 scale buggy that comes out of the box capable of running 6S for $430 or less. So for me, this gets 2 massive thumbs up, and yeah, I highly recommend this buggy. But that is it from me, guys. Please be sure to check out the video description. As I said earlier, there will be a bunch of links in there and a little bit more information about this car, as well as a link to my Facebook page, which of course will keep you a couple of steps ahead of what goes on here on YouTube. Thank you all very much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up before you go, and I will speak to you next time.